Session Blood. Hello everybody, welcome to another matchup overview video. Today we're going to look at Ranger versus Ninja. The two quite aggressive classes going up against each other. I think hopefully we'll see a bit of a classical representation of these two classes in terms of both playing quite aggro. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how Crucible has affected these two classes. Yeah, I didn't quite catch. We can have a quick look at the equipment our players have chosen. Very nice. Okay, so the Ranger's opting to go for the scalers there instead of the new Ranger Majestic. It's just a little bit easier to pull off, I guess. The scalers are always reliable, always ready to go. The Ranger equipment does provide some blocking potential, but of course it just costs you the card. Unlike the Ninja one, which is battle worn, unfortunately, the Ranger one is blocks for 2, but it does have blade break. Okay, our players are ready to go. Should be a good game. Now, what am I expecting? I think the Ranger class has got a lot more disruptive kind of cards. So things like Sleep Dart stops the Katsu activation. Things like Remorseless are going to be insane versus Ninja, who tends to play a lot of action cards on their turns. Each attack is an action card, so that's 1 damage each. But yeah, let's see how this goes. Something tells me that this is going to be a bit of a quick one. Just because of how aggressive both players are. And yeah, so we're seeing turn 1. It's a great way for the defending player, which is this instance is the Ranger, to filter out their hand, get rid of some of the cards they don't want to see. And yeah, we're just seeing some cheeky Kadachi plays from the Ninja. Those pesky Kadachis chipping away. We'll see how this goes. So, I think the Ranger player is just considering, which card do I want to leave in my hand? Don't want to take any damage. So, they're just opting to take 2 damage here. I think they're very happy with that Endless Arrow and that Rabble in their hand. And yeah, they're going to be the first ones to really put on some pressure in this game. Rabble serves kind of a dual purpose in the deck because we know how much Ranger relies on their top card, whether it's from a draw, whether it's from, basically using Azalea's ability. If there's an arrow card, sometimes it's just really good to get a good dominated arrow in there. But yeah, we're seeing the first attack. Swinging 4/4. Now, in terms of, as I said before, in terms of the defensive playstyle versus the aggressive playstyle, I think what we're going to see is both players just going ham, going at each other. Yeah. All right. Nimblism, Endless Arrow for 7. So we're seeing a lot of damage coming in from the Ranger. Let's see if the Ninja player Whether they're going to just take the damage here. So at the moment, you know, there's some equipment that allows, for example, the scalers there and the braces allow the Ranger player to potentially shoot with this endless arrow again. So yeah, very aggressive, you know, way of playing from both players. That's 11 damage on the first turn. Now we're seeing some cheeky, you know, hand shuffling action going on from the Ranger, so the opponent doesn't know what card they're going to arsenal, which is something to keep in mind because it might not seem like much, but just being able to save as much information as possible is just great. Just you want to try and keep your opponent in the dark as much as possible. So yeah, we'll see what the Ninja player can do in return. Can they punish the Ranger for, you know, they took all this damage, which saved all those cards in the hand. Let's see if they can swing back. So yeah, I think the Ninja player right now is just trying to figure out their sequencing. They opted to go for the Surging Strike from hand rather than the one from Arsenal. Potentially because this one is red, while the one on the Arsenal is yellow. So it just has a little bit of that extra pressure. And yeah, now we're going to see the Magenshi line in action. The Gust Wave's already in hand, so that's going to be attacking for 4. I think this is one of those attacks that you want to block up. Firstly, because it prevents your opponent from drawing a card on the on-hit effect, but it also stops that combo chain for the Mask of Momentum. Now, I think the difficulty for the Ranger player is that they are going to have to block a lot. And Ranger's not... I have a lot of Ranger cards and a lot of these generic cards block for 2. So it's very wise that they blocked for 5 there. Just because of breaking scales, which can push that damage through for another one. Okay, so we're seeing a full block there. Yeah, so that just completely drains the Ranger player's hand, so it's a pretty close game here. I think it was definitely necessary for the Ranger player to stop that attack, because getting a Magenshi in, to be honest, there weren't too many... I don't think there were any targets for that. So maybe letting through the Magenshi wasn't too bad, but it, just because the Lord of Wind couldn't get too many cards, but I guess, you know, at the end of the day. Ooh, Pathing Helix. Aggressive plays. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a target. I think this card is great if you want to chain, if you have a way of chaining some... what's it called? Chaining some arrows together. But yeah, I just got stopped by that flick flack. Now, interesting. How do you sequence this hand? There's a lunging press, an enlightened strike, and a surging strike. So we're seeing a lot of these surging strikes in the ninjas on the ninja side. And yeah, we're seeing one pop off right now. So it's interesting seeing that both players decided to run some defense reactions. Um, I think yeah, it's just good to run because both lists have these on-hit effects that have very powerful abilities, and yeah, we're seeing it's just important to stop them. Um, okay, so the ninja player opted to draw a card. This allows them to arsenal um, a combo piece. I think this is just going to be great if they do end up drawing that leg tap, which is quite likely considering that we haven't seen any, leg tap, rising knees, anything like that. Okay, so it's a bit of a tricky spot. Okay, so we're seeing a leg tap, but we are also seeing a lot of um, out of wars, two out of wars. Is that good? Hmm. They are low on life, so the scars is actually, pretty decent. They have this whole combo thing going on. Um, so I'm really interested to see what options they're going to go for. I actually think going for something like a quicken token isn't a bad idea because it sets up your next turn. Um, at the same time, the ninja player has so many go again cards that it's they don't benefit if they play Kadachi that pops the quicken token. If they play any of their cards that they currently have in hand, they don't get any quicken tokens. Um, I think the only cards that this is dangerous with is if they have something like a Snatch or an Enlightened Strike. Yeah, going for an Enlightened Strike with, draw a card, it's basically 5 damage there. But yeah, I like that, seeing some of these new cards from the Ranger. We saw the Cokes, we saw Pathing Helix in action, Remorseless. It's actually quite painful having both of the Remorseless in the grave though, because it's such a good card against Ninja. I hope the Feigned Death does some crazy stuff here. Um, but yeah, Quicken Token. Well, one thing we know is that if they go out of war, we won't be seeing a go again option. But yeah, this just works so well with that Snatch. Promise of Plenty. So yeah, this is going to be a great sequence of seeing Snatch into Promise of Plenty. And I think both players right now are just going to see how much they can outdo each other. Oh wow. A Snatch for the ninja player is insane. That's attacking for 5, and the Quicken Token pops. That's really good. They didn't activate a Kadachi, so basically, yeah, oh wow, and it just gets through. So Katsu triggers. They're gonna sequence it so they draw from Snatch first. They can have a look what they're gonna draw. And yeah, I think we could see a lot of wind being discarded there. Just because they have that full combo. Oh my goodness. If they get a Hurricane Kick, I'm not sure whether... Oh, the Hurricane Technique, sorry. This card just forces blocks. Okay. But is it gonna be enough? Okay, so they're gonna opt to pitch them Genjis. I think this leg tap is coming in for 4. They have 1 resource up. Yeah. And The good thing for the Ranger player is... Okay, so this is the tricky bit. This is the third attack on the chain. So if they take this, which is coming in for 6, there's going to be a mask trigger. So this can be feign deathed. But if they do feign death that, then they still have that hurricane technique to deal with. So it's just a matter of, do I let them draw and take the 6 damage, or do I really want to stop that hurricane technique and keep my hand? Yeah, they just decided to go for it and take the damage. So the mask is just going to keep on bringing in those hits. And yeah, still 1 resource up. So we're going to see that hurricane technique, which is definitely going to get feign deathed here just because it has to be stopped. The good thing is that the ninja player will still have go again. So, you know, this is coming in for 6, +1 from its ability, and +1 from the Art of War. Yeah, that just really stopped a lot of damage. Not only did that feign death stop the 6 damage, there was a potential play for the ninja player to pitch the plunder on an Art of War again, giving +1. No, actually they wouldn't do that, just because they couldn't hurricane technique again. But yeah, just a quick arsenal and pass. So the life total swung from, I think the ninja player was able to do like, I think it was 15 damage that turn. Yeah. But the Ranger player has a pretty sweet setup at the moment. They're able to just have a look at their top card. And yeah, I think we're gonna see that Snatch play, pop that Quicken token. And that was very nice for the ninja player to draw that sink below. We'll see if they decide to use it. Yeah, so it's a very, very quick back and forth. Both of the players are trying to be the aggressors. I feel there's danger cards from both players. It's just dangerous. It's just really hard for the Ranger to block these ninja attacks, but at the same time, the Ranger arrows, such as the Remorseless, Red in the Ledger, some of the bigger ones. There's also things like Sleep Dart and Hamstring Shot that can just make it a pain for the ninja to get their combos off. So Promise of Plenty is great if it hits. This card really forces a block. So I think we might see one here, just because it's so one-sided for the Ranger. It says each hero who doesn't have a card in their arsenal put the top card face down into their arsenal. A lot of the time, when you attack with this card, your opponent already has an arsenal card there, so this just basically forces a block. Okay, so we're seeing how the Ranger player is doing really well to strip cards from the Ninja player's hand. Are they gonna... We'll see whether they pitch that Rebel or whether they're gonna play the Rebel. If they play, they might arsenal the Retrider Shot for later. If they pitch it, they can get another card from Death Dealer. Okay, so they're opting to pop that. Have another look. Have a little bit of a look on the top card. So we're seeing... Oh. So yeah, we're seeing the Ranger player really put on pressure with things like Ravenous Rabble and a Retrider Shot. That's just gonna. I think it's difficult to say. See, I feel like in this matchup you really have to work out what works better for you. Um, Whether it's taking the hits and using up your hand, because that just loses momentum, right? If you block with your whole hand and you let your opponent go again, just because they're so aggressive, they're gonna really make the most of their 5 card hand or 4 card hand. And by 5 card hand, I mean 4 cards plus their arsenal. Um, so so yeah, oh, we're seeing a block here. Okay, so now the Ridge Rider shot can come in for 5, but the Ranger play opted to get that endless arrow in there just because it has dominate. So yeah, the Ninja player decided to go for a defensive turn. I think they're really hoping that the opponent gets an off turn. Just because they had such a strong hand with that snatch popping the quicken token, and that was just really hard to block. Okay, so 2 lunging presses. We see a gust wave in blue, a plunder run in the arsenal. All the stuff blocks for 2 except for the gust wave, which blocks for 3. And we're seeing a red in the ledger, which is a card that is extremely good against Ninja. It fully stops their turns. And yeah, it's backed up by the Razor Reflex. Very, very dangerous. Now, I think it's just quite rough to, it's coming in for 5. Your opponent does have Razor Reflexes and things like that. But yeah, we're going to see it here. Now, even though the life totals might look in Ninja's favor, the Ranger player is doing a great job at keep putting on the pressure and stripping cards away. So right now, for example, not only did they strip 2 cards from their hand, they dealt some damage. At the same time, we're just seeing a Scar for 4. That's the only thing they can do. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. That's interesting to see if the Ninja player is going to use that lunging press to push through that damage. Yeah, they will. So they're still, even though they only have that 1 action point, they're still trying to, pressure through the damage. It's interesting because we're seeing a lot of... I just want to mention, just quickly, a big difference, a lot of these kind of, if I'm lower life hits, so maybe the Ninja player is just hoping that to take a lot of damage here. But yeah, really good sequencing from the Ranger. Play the take aim first, put the plunder on into the arsenal, trigger the arsenal ability, and then use that Skullbone cross wrap just to really make sure to see how good their top card is and set up that, potential Azalea play or or the draw play for the Death Dealer. They're trying to figure out whether to pitch the Remembrance to the Death Dealer or use Tunic. How good is the Remembrance right here? They do have some really decent targets for the Remembrance, but they just opted to keep that Tunic counter out there. Okay, so pretty strong play here. The Snatch is going to come in for 7, and if it hits, they're going to draw 2 cards. So this is where we see, can this Ranger outmaneuver the ninja in terms of the go wide strategy? One resource up still. Okay. I think the ninja player is considering, do I just dump my hand to stop this attack? The tricky situation is the Ranger player can still pop the scales and then use the endless arrow, swing for 8, and then still draw a card and get back the endless arrow into the arsenal. So it's a matter of deciding whether you take the damage, drop down below. I think they must be thinking, can I afford to just take a bunch of damage here and then try and pressure them back? They're deciding to take it. Okay, they take 7, drop down to 15. So they're still in that kind of safe range. 2 cards are getting drawn from the Ranger. Interesting choice, including the Chains of Eminence. I think this card is really going to show, the skill of this Ranger player. Can they work out what the opponent has left? And they could really shut down the opponent's turn. I mean, looking through, they might name something like the Surging Strike, or maybe even Scar for a Scar, which would really damper the attack of the ninja. Would be really good to know what they're naming. Oh wow. They chose Surging Strike. Very smart. Because that allows... It's really interesting because, they already have 1 surging, 2nd surging. So there's only 2 Surging Strikes being played. So by naming the Surging, inadvertently, they really punish the ninja. Apologies for that. Just want to close this. So yeah, nice little shuffle there. Make sure your opponent doesn't know what you put back. And yeah, attacked for 8. And just like that, the tables have turned. Now, the ninja player is really going to have to do a good job at managing their hand without being able to pitch that Surging Strike. So that Surging Strike is just going to be stuck in their arsenal. Okay, Plunderon. Yeah, are they going to Scar for a Scar, or are they just going to wait? Scar for a Scar for 7. This is where it gets down to the nitty-gritties. This is where both players are so low that I think we're going to have to see some blocks this turn. Now, that draw card from Plunderon is really crucial here. Just because there won't be any Kodachis here, and there's only 2 attacks. I think we can't rely on the mask, seeing the mask trigger here, unless of course that Plunderon gets through. But yeah, really tricky for both players, just because how do you block something knowing that your opponent has cards like Lunging Press, Razor Reflex, Out of War? But yeah, a simple block for 2. Okay. So they're going to be taking 5 there, dropping down to 6. Plunder. We might see Katsu there. Wow, drawing a 2nd Surging Strike is just terrible. Wow. So we won't be seeing a card to trigger here. But what we might see is a life revive. So during that surging strike is just the worst thing that could have happened for the ninja. Because they can't raise a reflex that now. Very well played by the Ranger. So yeah, both. Oof, 3 cards in hand. Are they just gonna take it? Okay, we're seeing a block there. This allows the Ranger to keep an endless arrow for the pitch to Death Dealer, and then the Tunic to pop a Plunder on Red in the Ledger for 8. Razor is in the arsenal. Okay. Yeah. Chain's really just doing a great thing there. But yeah, gonna see a Plunder run. So I think this should be in the grave there. Okay, Red in the Ledger, loading up. Drawing a Razor Reflex. Now, unfortunately, we won't see that Razor Reflex in action, just because there won't be any resource for it. But Plunder on it plus Red in the Ledger is going to be attacking for 8. And it is something I'm pretty sure that, you know, the ninja player doesn't want to see there. Cool. Very powerful shot. So 5 plus 8 and a card draw. Very interesting. Very interesting. Is there a way for the Ranger? Are they just going to block that up? Yeah, they're going to block 8. I think they just really want to shut it down, shut the turn down. But yeah, just like that, the Ranger has the back full tempo in terms of being able to go on the offense. A ninja player with 1 card doesn't seem to pose too much of a threat. So we're just going to see 1 Kodachi attack. It might not seem like much. I think, yeah, the Ranger's just going to opt to take it. But are we going to see that Razor Reflex? Yeah. So the ninja knows that they just have to pressure the Ranger as much as they can. So an important thing to note is that the Ranger only has 1 armor left, and the ninja player still has 4. So it's, you know, other than the life totals, I think that makes a bit of a difference. So now it's getting into a zone where the ninja, the Kodachis really, affect the game state. Each Kodachi hit is going to be threatening lethal potentially. But yeah, Ranger is locked and loaded with a lot of goodies there. So double take aim. We're going to see an endless arrow for 11 with go again. The lead the charge gives a go again. So just another very aggressive hand, and it's something that I'm not sure that, I'm not sure that the ninja can afford to just take a hit. Even blocking with 2 cards and letting through 5 damage means that Endless Arrow is going to come back to their hand. They can pitch to death, deal an attack for another 4. So very aggressive play here from the Ranger player. But yeah, as I mentioned before, there are still 4 potential blocks from the armor on the ninja side. So that's 4, and then they need another 7. So it's still not ideal. It still strips most of their hand. They're just 1 block off from saving 2 cards and going Kodachi, Kodachi, and another attack. So this one's going to go down to the wire. I think they have to figure out a way to block this. Yeah. Oh no, I think I got my maths wrong. I think that's 10 damage. My bad. 4 plus 3 plus 3. So that's still a bit clunky for the ninja to block, just because they can't block for 4 of their equipment, and then Enlighten Strike and Gust Wave have to block, which leaves Plunder Run, and it's not really a card you want to save. So I think we might see a Tunic block, maybe the legs, the boots, and a triple block with the Plunder on, Inline Strike, and Gust Wave. I think that's something I would go for. Block 10, stop that arrow. But I think the tricky thing is obviously they don't know that the Ranger player doesn't have another attack in hand. They're probably thinking, hey, if they have a snatch, I am screwed. So they're just weighing up, what does the Ranger have in their hand? Something like, maybe even a lunging press could be a bit tricky. Okay, very interesting. 10, 1 card in hand. Death Dealer still hasn't been used. They have 1 block from the Tunic. They're trying to figure out, what do they have in hand? What is a card that could really punish me for overblocking here? I think they just really want to make sure that they save. I think that they're thinking, can I just take a little bit of that damage? Okay. So we're seeing a block for 8 at the moment. And the mask. Is it going to be the mask? Yeah, the mask is going in the bin. I think it's actually a wiser decision than what I suggested with blocking with the Tunic and the Breezer boots, just because the mask isn't as relevant at this stage. Yeah, so we're going to see Kodachi, and one of those can be blocked with the Tunic, and the other one taken, but the thing is that they actually have quite a defensive hand. The Ridge Rider shot might potentially be... I think they're really going to have to hope they hit something with an Azalea. They might even sink here just to get rid of that Feign Death. And make their hand a little bit more aggressive. Okay, let's see what they draw. Ooh, a Ravenous Rabble. Really good. So yeah, do they want to take the hit or are they going to block? I think it's, yeah, really important to, in a situation where you're blocking, really, try and make sure that you nail down what you're going to do on the next turn. So they thought, hey, this Sikkim shot won't be that necessary next turn. I'll just block with it, maintain my high life total. Okay, back on the aggressive. We're seeing a Rabble. Rabble does a great job of showing what the next card is. So right now, just knowing that that top card is a Rabble, the Ranger player knows how Azalea is going to play out. Okay, so yeah, they decided to take 3. We're going to see an Azalea play. Now the interesting thing is and figuring out what the player has on the top card. So a bit of an unlucky hit for the Ranger. Hitting a yellow there means that that Rabble's hitting for 3 instead of 4. But yeah, we'll see how the Ninja decides to just take the damage here. I think they're pretty confident that they have enough. Okay, so we're seeing another 3 damage. Now this is going to have to be blocked. It's threatening lethal. But yeah. Are we going to see double equipment block? Yeah. Okay. That battle one is coming in handy. So yeah, what is the best way? Now the question is, what is the best way for the Ninja player to strip all the cards from the opponent's hand? And I think they figured out, by getting your opponent down to so low, those Gadachis are really gonna make a difference here. They know that the Ranger player has a Razor Reflex which blocks for 2 in their hand, so potentially they're hoping to strip that from their hand. But yeah, soon those Gadachis are going to have to be blocked, and that's what we're seeing here. The first block from the Kadachi. Here we go, there's another one. Okay, an attack for 4. Now, it's interesting because the Ranger does have the defense react that blocks 4, but are they going to reload? And to be honest, I don't see a reason to reload. But yeah, this is going to take away the remainder of their hand. And this swings the momentum back into Ninja's favor, just because right now the Ranger can't do anything on their turn, which means, we're going to see a freebie on the side of the Ninja. Now, the Ninja, unfortunately, drew a very, very red heavy hand. There's 4 red cards. There's a flick flack. So it's really important for them to figure out a way that they strip the most cards from their opponent's hand. With this hand, we might see something like pitch, attack with Kodachi, pitch a flick flack, attack with Kodachi, pitch an ancestral, attack with another Kodachi. Or actually, pitch a flick flack, attack with Kodachi, pitch the Surging Strike to leg tap with ancestral, and I think that is that could be the best option, just because the leg tap being double blocked by 2 cards that block for 2, maybe there's Scar for a Scar and Coax, and getting through that extra damage with Ancestral is really going to make the Ranger player sweat. And also the card draw. Okay, so we're seeing a leg tap for 4. Interesting. Okay, so the Ranger's blocking for 4, and that leg... Ooh. Oh, the Katsu trigger, of course. Being able to... See, this is why the Ninja player is playing Ninja and not me. Because I didn't even, fully forgot that you can pitch to Katsu with the leg tap hit. Pitch that flow flag. You couldn't do that same thing with Surging. So, well played by both players. I'm glad that we got to see a nice, snappy, dynamic game. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you picked up on a few things here and there. I was really impressed with the Ranger being able to really, work out the arranging their plays in a way with the Skull cross wrap, using the arsenal, using the reloads correctly. Really great sequencing from both players. This was really a nail biter to watch. But in the end, those harmonized Kodachis were just doing too much. And I think that's just what happens. Both classes have that ability to really work well in the super late game when both players are quite low. The Kodachis on the side of the Ninja and those dominated arrows on the side of the Ranger. Both really great finishes. It was good to see a good back and forth in terms of chaining some impressive attacks from both sides. We saw a Surging Strike, Gust Wave, Mugenchi's combo really early from the Ninja player. We saw a big chain, actually the Chain of Eminence from the Ranger, which correctly hit 2 cards from the Ninja player's hand, which was just extremely punishing, as we saw. So yeah, we hope you learned something, and if you want to see any particular matchups, do let us know. We do want to hear your opinions. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this stream. Thanks for watching. Bye. Session Blood.